Hello and welcome to My Side of the Bag. I'm Drew Hinesley, joined as always by my co-host Scotty Worldwide. Scotty coming to us from Missouri this week. How
Yes.
you doing, Scott?
Yeah, no, I'm good. St. Louis. Brother's getting married on Friday, so flew here to hang out with the family. Recording from my aunt Geraldine's house. So, making it work all over the globe here, but it's all worth it to be here on my side of the bag.
Yeah, got a great guest here today, a guy that both of us have known for a long time, Reynolds Robinson. Reynolds, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys are having me. And now I see why they call him Worldwide. I was wondering why he got that nickname, but I understand now.
I'm just trying to be like
He's
you,
he's all
Reynolds.
He's all over the place. And speaking of worldwide, Reynolds is the first winning caddy on the PGA Tour to come do our show. And you won. We're doing this on November 5th, election night in the United States of America. And 9 days ago, Reynolds picked up a win in Japan with
Sure.
his boss, Nico Echevarria. Congratulations, Max Greyersman and Justin Thomas trying to track you down. You guys held them off 3 under in your final round. I believe it's been 17 years you've been looping, and that's your first win. So
Yeah.
congratulations, Reynolds. Much deserved. I know you earn it every week. So
Thank you.
glad to see you get on top of the mountain.
It's very exciting, man. That it was unreal. It's still kind of surreal right now. Still coming down off of it, and you guys know you've been doing this for a while. Sometimes you kind of get it in your mind that this may never happen for me. Like it could happen, but it may never happen. So it was exciting to get that knocked off. First PGA Tour win. Said first win, but I did have a win 2 years ago with Joseph Bramlett at the Korn Ferry Finals at
Correct.
Victoria National. So just want to
Well,
clarify that.
So we're
well,
making
and that
the
is
flag room's
about as
getting
close
bigger.
to a PGA Tour venue as you're going to find on the Korn Ferry Tour. So you win there, you can win anywhere. I say, not just as a player, but also as a caddy. You got to make a lot of decisions around that place, and I'm sure some of that experience paid off in Japan.
I think so. It just that the biggest thing was just not being worried about anything coming
Hmm.
down the stretch. That's probably what I pulled most from that day with Joseph, because I don't know if anybody really knows about it or paid attention in Corn Ferry, but we were 4 shots back when we made the turn at Victoria National. So we climbed a pretty big mountain there at Victoria to go from 4 shots down to I believe a 3 shot victory by the time we reached 18. So I'll be honest though, I was a lot more nervous that day than I was in Japan the week a week ago. So I pulled a little bit from it, but I don't know how to explain it, Drew and Scotty. In Japan, I felt different,
Yeah.
and uh, I felt like it could be done on Saturday morning, if that makes any sense. I felt a sense of calm for the entire weekend, and I was just ready to go Saturday and Sunday. Didn't matter who we were playing with, who we were walking beside. It was just majestic. I don't know how else to describe it. I can keep trying though.
Well, I find that I'm a lot more nervous if I feel like I don't have all the answers to the questions on the test.
Yeah,
But if I've done my work, and again, just sometimes you don't quite get to go see the course as many times as you want, whether it's weather or pro-ams or whatever. But I feel like if I get all my work done and I know kind of on Wednesday night, okay, we're ready. We're ready to answer the test. Then I'm a little bit less nervous. So was that the case? Was maybe your preparation part of it, or was it just he was playing that good?
a little bit of both. Because to start the story, I went over last year with Tyler Duncan to Zozo. We were first alternate in 2023, and we went over, never got in. So we spent Monday, Tuesday, or not Monday, was the charter goes over. You miss all of Monday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, got my work done on the course last year. So I had some good time to spend. After we practiced, I just went back out on the course and learned as much as I could in 2023
Hmm.
with the hopes that we would get in. But if we didn't, I said next time we go, I'll already have the footwork done for the golf course. So when we got there this year, I felt more prepared. I didn't feel like, I was landing and going to the course for the first time. I knew where everything is, and I felt like I could help Nico because he was like, "Yo, so where's the practice area? Where's this? Where's that?" And since I already knew, I was like, "Hey, the locker room's down here. Let's go down there. I'll get your locker sorted out. Physio's over there. Well, dining's upstairs." So I felt more in control because I wasn't learning everything. I knew how to navigate the golf course. That may seem like nothing to people that are listening, but it's a big deal for us as caddies when our players are like, "Yo, where's dining? Yo, where's," just to give them that confidence that, oh, okay, he knows what's going on here. I think that set the tone for us early in the week. Nico didn't feel like he was new and I was new, so now we were trying to go out on this golf course and try to figure out what we were doing. He sort of just asked me questions, and I felt confident just telling him what we needed to do. So no, to answer your question a little bit more precisely, though, it was a combination of both. The combination of him playing well, him being in a good place, and me being comfortable with the course, with the facilities, with everything.
Yeah,
So
no,
we played 18 holes on Tuesday, and he asked me when we landed like 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. So we're all tired. We're getting the bus to the hotel. And he's like, "Yo, so what do we do? Do we go out and play early tomorrow, play 9, or do we sleep in and play late?" I was like, "Nah, dude, let's sleep for a couple hours and let's get up and let's get out there and let's get the work done early. And then as we start to crash, then we can get back to the hotel and get some sleep." But I said, I'd like you to get out there as early as possible and let's see the course. Let's get the work done. And then let's play 18, not 9. So let's see them all today. And then we can decide what we're going to do tomorrow. So I felt really helpful in that way, where I could just kind of help him be more at ease with planning his day, planning his week, and not worrying about, what he needed to do.
was that the best call you made all week?
No, I don't think it was the best call I made all week. I'll be real honest with you, man. I made two calls uh, that really stand out to me, and it was on the 71st and the 72nd holes. And Nico, he'd been asking me questions all week. We had a good process. I would get the number, he would get the number, and we would talk about where we want to land it, how far, and then how far right or left. And he was pretty comfortable asking me that all week. Like, all right, we got 139. We want to land this 137, 135. And he gave me free reign to say what I wanted without pushing back and saying, "You sure? What's going on?" Like,
Yeah.
I felt confident being able to give him that. So I'll say three decisions, Scotty. So on the second hole on Sunday, uh, I think you guys have watched it, but we had 139 to the hole, and the pin was on the right. It was sitting on a shelf.
Yeah.
So if you landed at 4 short, it would probably come back to the front of the green. It wouldn't get to the hole. If you landed at 3 past, it was going to go to the fringe, which is where Justin Thomas hit his second shot. I think he hit it pin high. It took one hop and it went to the back fringe. And so Nico, we have 139. He was like, "What do you think? We need to land this 135." I said, "Nope." I said, "It's too short." I said, "I think we got to be a little bit closer to the hole. We want to land this minimum 137, too short." And he landed at 138 or 139 and it stuck. So we had uh, probably about a 6 to 8 foot putt for birdie, where Grazerman and Thomas were both over in the first cut and in the fringe. So that was the first call. I thought that was a pretty good call, just kind of dialing in that number.
Yep.
Then the 71st hole, we have 152 to cover. We have 157 to the hole. The ball was slightly below his feet, so it wasn't going to come out really high. He had an 8 iron. He pulled an 8 iron, and he said, "I think I'm just going to cut this up there." And I did really well not stopping him when he pulled clubs. Since it was our first week, I didn't think I really had the ability or liberty to call him off clubs when he pulled them out of the bag and knew what shot he was going to hit. But he hits his 8 iron 170, and we had 157 to the hole. So I was a little like, okay, he's really got to take something off of
Yeah.
this and cut this into his hole. So right before he got into a stance, He said, "Do you like this play, or were you thinking something else?" And I was like, "Actually, I was thinking 9-iron, Nico. 9-iron was the first club that came to mind." And then I told him why
Yeah.
I was thinking 9-iron. And he said, "Okay." He put the 8 back and he pulled the 9. I said, "We don't need to go at this flag. We need to just keep this about 3 or 4 left of that so we can get that cover." He was like, "Okay, I'll just cut it a little less." We just covered. I mean, when he hit it, we just covered, but we hit it to probably about 16 to 18 feet birdie putt. So that was a pretty good call, I think, for being with a guy for 3 rounds
Yeah.
and being able to call it at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second one on 18, every day. Do you know the contour of the 18th hole at
Just
at the
walk it.
golf
Just
club there?
walk us through it for the listeners.
Okay, so the contour of that hole, it's you pretty much have to take it over the left trees because the fairway dog legs left at the corner, but you can't hit it left, if that makes sense, because there's trees on the left. So you have to cut it over the left side of the trees, or you can just hit a smaller club at the bunkers on the right. That's the play. But every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, he pulled driver. He was like, "You like this?" I said, "Yeah, I do like it. Let's just choose the line here." So I had all the runouts, the covers, and I said, "We just need to be a little left of that right bunker, because then if you cut it, we won't get in the bunker. We'll stay left of it." On Sunday, he didn't pull a driver. He asked me, he said, "What club do you like off this tee today?"
Mm.
Hmm.
And I told him 3-wood. I said, "I don't
Hmm.
like driver off this tee today." And the reason I said that is a little more pressure packed on Sunday. We're tied for the lead. I felt like we needed to hit the fairway. If we could hit this fairway 100%, we could give ourselves a shot in two, and then we could, have a chance to birdie the hole. But I felt like if he got a little antsy and pulled the driver or cut it too much, we're either in the trees left
Yeah.
or we're in the bunker right, and now we have to lay up. So he asked a few questions. He was like, "All right, what do we have to cover that bunker? All right, what do we have to run through at that bunker on the right?" And we kind of dialed in the line we wanted, and he hit probably one of the best 3 woods of the week, right in the center of the fairway.
Mm.
Hmm.
So that moment, I was like, "Okay, we're good." And then Max hit a mini driver, and he pushed it right. And when he pushed it right, I felt like our chances of winning the golf tournament went from 50-50 to 80-20.
Mm.
I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay, we just increased our odds by about 30% to be able to close this out, because Max was going to have to lay up, and we had a chance to go for it in two." So
Hmm.
those three decisions, to recap, I
Yeah.
think those were probably the best three decisions that were made that week.
Well, my side of the bag, happy to be sponsored by Birdie Brands. Game on, bugs gone. Best bug spray in the game. Also helps you focus. And also sponsored by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce. Call it salsa, call it red sauce. When you have Uncle Keith's, you can call it a party. Joined by Reynolds Robinson, 17-year tour veteran, just picked up his first W on the PGA Tour in Japan last week with Nico Echevarria. Happy to join us for the show. We love having a guy like Reynolds with all this experience, all these players you've worked for, and you win your first week with this young kid. Did you see it coming? Was there anything telling you that, yeah, this kid's going to win soon? I need to jump on this bag before he goes to the top.
No, I can't say that it was. And to be real clear, so you guys know, and the people out there know, this was a fill-in week.
Yeah.
I'm not even a full-time caddy for
Yeah.
Nico.
Yeah.
His guy, I don't know the story. I didn't ask because it's none of my business. But his regular caddy either did not get the visa for Japan or could not get the visa. I don't know. Whichever way it worked out, he was not able to go. And I got a call from Nico's agent asking me if I was interested in work in Japan, and I said yes. And I'll back that up a little bit, because I did not have a bag for Japan, but I got the visa anyway.
Mm.
So when we were in Napa, I had already filled out my COE, the certificate of eligibility. And when we got to Napa, I got the visa, and guys were at the table. I like, oh, who you working for in Japan? I was like, I don't know. I don't have a bag. And they were like, well, why are you getting a visa? I said, simple math for me. If I have the visa and somebody asks me to go, I can go. If I don't have the visa, I can't go if somebody asks me to go to Japan. I said, so I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to get the visa. And then if I don't get a bag, so what?
Yeah,
I write it off. It's part of my expense as a caddy. But we see how that turned out.
Well, the natural question
it's a good write-off.
is there a conversation that maybe is currently happening that you can share with the audience of, hey, we're 1 for 1. Let's maybe hook it up again and give it a go, somewhere down the line soon or what?
So, yes and no. Drew, you know me. Scotty, you know me. And you may not know this part about me, but I'm a caddy's caddy. And I don't believe in caddies taking jobs from other caddies. And
Okay.
I would never be the guy that goes after a player and says, "Hey, man, like you said, we're 1 for 1. Let's keep it going." No, he asked me to help him out for the week. His caddy, for whatever reason, couldn't make it. I would not feel comfortable trying to take that bag from a guy that he's had for the past 2 to 3 years. So his caddy Fabian was with him on the Corn Ferry Tour. He was with him for his first win on the tour last year. He's been with him all year. So I want to respect that relationship that they
Hmm.
have. I will say this: I did ask Nico to consider hiring me for Maui. I said I said that's been a goal of mine, a dream of mine as a caddy to go to Maui, and the way I wanted to go was to be on the bag of a winning player. I said, so I understand that you have a long history with your caddy, and I don't want to take his job. These were my exact words to Nico. I don't want to take his job. I'm not interested in doing that. I said, but I would like you to consider allowing me to caddy for you in Maui this year at the Century. I said, Fabian can have every other week. I said, because that's the relationship you have. So I don't know what the final decision is on that, but I have requested that.
I think that's
I
fair.
think that's a fair request. It's a very honorable
Uh,
approach. And again, I've liked you since the first day I laid eyes on you, and I just got another reason why.
Thank you, and I
I
appreciate
think
it. Oh, go ahead,
No,
Scotty.
I was just gonna say, I think for caddies listening, I think two things stand out about that story. Number one, last year being an alternate and not getting in, and then changing your
Hmm.
perspective of, hey, I'm gonna use this experience, I'm gonna learn this golf course, so when I come back here, I'm gonna be ready. I don't think a lot of guys would have that perspective. And then number two, to go ahead and get this visa, just to be available for the tournament and not even having a bag. I think a lot of caddies that I know and we all know that probably aren't going out and buying the visa without a bag or knowing they're going to go. And so I think those two things for our listeners and caddies that just being prepared, by any means necessary, and look what it got you. So I think there's definitely a lesson to be learned there for younger caddies and people listening and watching.
I hope they take that. That's my general perception of life, which is I need to be prepared for whatever might be coming my way. And so I got let go from a player I was with for the last year and a half, 2 weeks before Napa. So a lot of guys wouldn't have even gone to Napa, but I flew out to Napa anyway and said, you know what? Let's see if I can pick up a bag for the week. Maybe there's people out there that don't know that my player and I have split. So I need to be present. So guys are like, yo, you're not with, like, oh man,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So there were a few reasons I went out to Napa, and that was one of them. I think in life in general, in your personal life, you just have to take risks sometimes that you don't know what's at the end of the road. And I think they call that faith, Drew, maybe. You have to make moves and just have faith that what you're doing is going to turn into something good on the other end. And I'm, I'm a pretty big guy when it comes to faith. I don't believe in blocking myself before I try something.
Amen. And Reynolds, like for those that don't know, like just your story of how you even started and got into caddying. Like you left a corporate job that you were happy with and you were all right in, and then you found golf.
Hang on, he didn't just leave a corporate job. My father's an accountant. He was an accountant, and accountants are the most conservative, risk averse people that have ever existed. So, yes, he left a corporate job, but he also left an accounting job
Yeah.
to live this crazy life. So, that speaks even more about the risk he took.
But I do have to correct something Scotty said. I was not happy in it, and that's
Okay.
that's why.
Hmm.
So I wasn't happy in that job or that career. The corporate life just wasn't for me. I was at a point where I was miserable. It's the opposite of that. I was miserable. I didn't like the people. I didn't like the company. I didn't like the clients. Uh, I didn't even like me at a
You didn't like
certain point.
lunch.
And I'm like, I was miserable, and I knew that if I stayed, we all know men and women like this in our everyday life. They're working a job that they hate,
Yeah.
and they don't want to be there. They don't want to get up and go every day. They're just living and existing. And I was 36 at the time, and I decided I didn't want to just exist anymore and show up so I can get a paycheck every 2 weeks. I wanted to have some joy in my career and my profession, and so yeah, I left to pursue caddying, and it was not easy. That's a much longer story. I don't think we have time for that tonight. But yeah, no, we were living in the Philadelphia area, and we sold our home, and I moved with my wife and two kids who were 6 and 4 at the time to Florida. And it wasn't easy because my wife had to leave her job. She had to find another job. We had to find a school for the kids. I didn't have any projected income coming down to Florida, so it was not an easy or uh, safe move. Safe is the word. It wasn't a safe move, but I knew that if I stayed in Philadelphia in corporate, it was going to be worse because I was going to start to become one of those bitter and unhappy husbands and employees, and it wasn't going to turn into much good.
Well, I've known you for over 10 years now, and you're the opposite of bitter. You're one of the most joyful, happy people I've ever met. From the first day I met you, I was telling Scotty, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we met out on the golf course, walking the golf course in Nova Scotia
Woo!
on the web.com tour. You might have been with Steve LeBrun,
Yeah, you got a better
and
memory
I
than me.
was with Pete Tomasulo,
Yeah. Okay.
and
Wow.
we were at the Nova Scotia Open.
Yep.
And I just again I told Scotty, it's kind of one of those, you walked up and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna like this guy. Just our initial conversation, just you lit up talking about doing the job and grinding out. Some people call it grinding. You and I call it working out
Yep.
on the golf course. And you were just lighting up, talking about it. You were just excited. You were rolling balls, and there was all this enthusiasm. And I said, yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy talking to this guy. So from the moment I met you, I knew I liked you. And hearing a little bit about why you got into caddying, I actually didn't know any of that. So I'm an even bigger fan, if that was possible, than I was just about 30 minutes ago.
Well, I'm glad, man, and you got a great memory because I couldn't have told you the first time we met, but you could tell me, and that doesn't mean you didn't have an impression on me because you did. But I when I'm out on that course, sometimes I don't. I'm almost in a tunnel vision type of mode. Like I'm moving, and I'm still like that. I still walk the course alone. Like I don't walk with a group of caddies. I don't walk with one, two. I don't. I like to go walk alone because I know I can get the work done, and I still love it. I still love the caddying. So uh, yeah,
For
man.
for me, my favorite day, the day I actually get the most flat out joy, is the first day I get on property and I get to go walk the course. And I even enjoy more going to a new course than I do going to a fifth or sixth time around, because I get to discover all these new strategies. And
Yeah.
it's the canvas is blank, and I get to paint a whole new picture, and that
Yes.
just fires me up. And I love that side of the work.
Yes, I do too. And it's just, yeah, it's still good. And even now, going to a course uh, 5, 6 times. So next week is Bermuda. I'll head to Bermuda. I'm going to get there Saturday, and I'm going to go out Sunday and walk the course. And my goal is to write something in my book that's not in there yet. So every hole that I walk, uh, I'm going to find something new and new information that I don't have yet.
I
And
was
so
about to say, how many trips has this been to Bermuda now?
I've gone every year since they've had it. So I'm not sure.
Five,
Was
6 years,
19 the
maybe.
first year? Maybe 19 was the first year, or 20. So either
Yeah, I want
19.
to say it's 5 or 6
Yeah.
years old now. So,
Right. So I've been there every year,
okay.
and it's not a course that changes. There's nothing they can do to change that course other than maybe resurface some greens and change some undulation. But even after 17 years of caddying, I feel like I can go learn something new on a course every single year.
I feel like a hurricane or a tropical storm made a pretty direct hit on Bermuda this year. So maybe there's been some trees removed that
Okay.
you can erase some tree lines or some target lines in your
Send it
book that
over.
way. So,
Possibly, possibly. We'll see. I'm caddying for a different guy this year than I've caddied for there before, so the lines are going to be different anyway.
who are you with?
I'm going to be caddying for Justin Suh in
Okay.
Okay.
Bermuda. So, uh,
USC guy. Scotty's a USC guy.
oh yeah,
Well, we just represent the West LA guy, represent the West Coast.
okay,
We got some,
okay.
Dodgers.
Oh, that word had to come up. Were you just looking for that opening at some point in time, knowing that I'm from the Bronx?
I mean,
Ooh,
I mean,
ooh, ooh.
I mean,
Hey,
if
I did. Hey, did you hear that Aaron Judge has been asked to take part in the New Year's Eve festivities this year in Times Square? He's going to drop the ball at midnight.
Oh,
oh,
how long you been waiting for that one too? It's like getting those up, waiting for those.
hey,
All
listen,
right,
listen.
let's get back real quick. We'll do a sponsor hit. Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, proud sponsor, also sponsored by Birdie Brands. Game on, Bugs gone. Reynolds Robinson here, longtime veteran caddy of all tours. I believe you had Cheyenne Woods for a while on the LPGA. Worked for a number of guys on Corn Ferry and PGA now. Um, and you've been in pro golf for almost 2 decades now. And something happened this summer that I think gave all of us, it certainly gave me a bit of pride. Watching you journey with your son to the Paris Olympics. Your son, Russell, triple jumper,
Yep,
I think he competed in track and field at Miami
correct.
University, if I'm not mistaken. And again, all of us that work in pro sports, right now I'm watching my daughter play volleyball. I'm coaching my son in baseball, and I just tell the kids just hustle, be a good teammate, and have fun. Nobody's getting a pro contract today, and I think because we all work in pro sports, we know the numbers. We know what the odds are against even us being where we are. So we know how fortunate we are. So much less for our kids. We don't really aspire for our kids to be pro athletes, but if they happen to develop into that, great. We're going to be their biggest cheerleaders. But your son becoming an Olympian, that's an even narrower, percentage of success. And just, oh man, I mean, the pride you must have had watching him at nationals. The story of you getting there is a cool story. And then just the posts on your social media all summer long, the whole family in Paris. Tell
Yes.
us about that, Reynolds. I can't tell you. I'm just so proud for you that you got to experience that with your kid. That is absolutely a dream come true, is it not?
It definitely is, and I thank you for your words, for your pride, and I'll say this to any caddies, officials, or anybody listening or watching. I want to thank the entire core family, like my fellow caddies, players, officials. I've had so many people come up to me and express their excitement and their joy, and just their overall feelings about my son making it to Paris this year. And
Right.
I never knew that it would make that much of an impact on
Oh,
the
yeah.
PGA Tour family. I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody and their support and just kind words and love. It means a ton. And yes, I'm beyond proud, man. And it's been a journey with my son for a while. And see your kid accomplish something that they set their mind. out to accomplish is it's a whole
Yeah.
separate bucket outside of just him making the Olympics. Just seeing him put his nose to the grind and just doing what he had to do, skipping parties, no drinking during season, getting the work done in the class. Like I watched him do everything he needed to do to
Hmm.
put himself in position. So what you got to see over the summer was just a culmination of years of sacrifice and frustration for him. Because I'll
Hmm.
tell you, he was a walk on at Miami, so he got recruited out of high school, but they didn't offer him a scholarship right away. He was a preferred walk on. He had really good grades in high school, so he was able to get a lot of grant money
Hmm.
from Miami. My wife and I didn't have to pay a lot, but he went from the bottom of their jumps chart in his freshman year to the top of their jump chart by the first semester of his sophomore year. He
Hmm.
was he was purely fueled by the fact that two of the other jumpers, full scholarship athletes, were not working as hard as he was. They
Hmm.
were getting stipend money. They weren't taking it serious. And here he was having to count pennies, ask mom and dad for money to hang out on the weekends. And these guys are getting stipends and they're not showing up for workouts. They're not working hard. Like he was pretty pissed off. So he went to work, and
Hmm.
so he didn't even think about the Olympics until about a year before it was possible. He was like, "You think I could make the Olympic team?" I said, "I think you can do anything you want."
Hmm.
I said, so that got in his mind the summer before the actual Olympics happened, when he almost made the world team to go to Budapest. That he missed by 2 spots, I think, making the world team,
Hmm.
and he jumped against pros, and that's what put in his head like, oh, okay, there were 20 guys jumping, I came in fourth, and the only guys that beat me were professional athletes that have been doing this since they were 10 or 11 years old, and I think that just kind of amped him up. So watching him make that journey absolutely was pride, man, and being able to be a part of it. I'll tell you a really cool story too. I want to put this out there just because it's an outlier, guys, because when I went to see him at trials, he didn't know I was coming, so I never told him. I showed up, and while he was warming up, he uh he was walking, he was in total game mode, he wasn't looking around, and I was just like, "Hey, Robinson." And when he looked over and saw me, he just broke
Man.
into a big smile, and he came over and he hugged me and he said, "Thank you for being here." Like it almost sent me to tears.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, it's just about doing that right now to me. Goodness.
like it was that hug from my son, and he said, "Thank you for being here."
Hmm.
I said, "Okay," and I went up into the stands. I watched, and he had some good jumps, but he didn't have the jumps he wanted, and I could see him getting frustrated. And I don't go talk to him during meets. I didn't do it in high school. I didn't do it in college because that's what his coaches are for. It's not for me. So he has coaches. He has a team. But I saw something. So in between his third and his fourth jumps, they had a break because only 12 guys make the final. And so he had three more jumps to stay in that top three. I went down to the track and I was like, "Yo, come here." And he was frustrated. He was like, "What?" Like normally, my son doesn't have that. He's a very kind kid, very soft with me and my wife. He doesn't have that, but he was like, "What?" I called him over. I was like, "Yo, stop trying to jump a number." I said, "You're not out here to jump numbers. You're out here to execute the training that you've put in for the last 4 years." And I said, "And get out of your head. Stop. You're thinking about this too much. Go out and let your athleticism." And then I left. That's all I said. He didn't. I don't think he wanted to receive it. Like he was like, "All right," and he went. But his next jump, he jumped over 17 meters, and that ensured that he was going to be one of the top three because only two of the guys jumped 17 meters that day. That was him and Salif Main. And
It
so,
sounds like the best caddy job you did all year was in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah.
man,
Always caddying.
like I seen. said that to people. I said, I don't get involved. So now he's turning pro. I'm not going to get involved in his triple jump techniques or what he does at meets because that's not my job. But I felt like that day my job was to be his father. And Drew, Scotty, do you have
I
children?
do not. I do not.
So Drew does. And some days as fathers, like that was my day to kind of stick my foot in his ass a little bit and say, yo,
Totally.
like I've seen this movie before with my son. I saw it in high school. I saw it the first time he made nationals. Like I can watch him on TV and I can tell you if he's going to jump well or not.
Yeah.
I can just watch his movements, his rhythm, his attitude, and I can tell you if he's going to have a good jump or if it's going to be trash the rest of the meet. And I saw that point where I thought the next three jumps were going to be trash if
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. That he was going to get inside of his head and he was going to prevent himself from doing the best he could.
Well, you get the best out of him. He makes the Olympic team, and you get to spend all that time together as a family in Paris this summer. Talk about what a joy that was.
A great joy. 16 of us took the trip over to Paris. So my wife, myself, our daughter, and then my mother, 93 years old, she said, I'm going to see my grandson jump in the Olympics. She was like,
That's cool.
I'm not missing that. I might not make the next one. So my
Hmm.
93-year-old mother got on a plane and flew to Paris. My brother, a sister of mine, my daughter's third and fourth grade teacher, who we've become friends with, got on the plane and flew over. We just had people that were like, "Yo, we're coming, we're coming,
That's so
we're
cool.
coming." So we had an Airbnb where all of us were in the house together for the week. So it was just a total love fest, is what I'll call it, because it was nothing but positivity,
Yeah, that's cool.
food, drinks, just a lot of love for my son and for each other. And he had a cheering section in that stadium when it was time for him to jump, man. But we had a great time supporting him and being over there with him. And when he didn't jump well that Wednesday, so he didn't make it to finals, 32 jumpers start, and they cut it to 12 for the finals that Friday. And so he finished 22nd out of the 32. And we knew he was disappointed when he hit that last jump and it didn't hit the mark. He didn't scratch. He didn't have bad jumps. He just didn't get to the board. So if his foot would have touched the board, he would have made it to finals.
Mm.
So we're not sure what it was, but when he came up to see the family, he came up in the stands, he broke down in tears. And
Oh,
it crushed me.
Mm.
Like, it crushed me
Yeah.
to see my son achieve so much
hmm.
and then be so sad at that time. And he was like, I wanted to do this for you guys so bad. And we had to remind him that it was for him, it
Mm.
wasn't for us.
Hmm.
And he already did for us what we wanted for him. And we said, you don't need to feel any kind of sorrow because we're proud of you. You just elevated this family to a level that it's never been at before. We now have an Olympian in our family, and before you, we have that. So that was the ending sentiment to that trip. Once he calmed down, and I calmed down, you could see it still.
That's awesome. Those are joyful tears, man.
Yo, to see your kid that upset, it's hard. It's hard, but now we're in a better place. He's going to be a pro. We finished the trip off with a bang. He cleaned it up, and then we just had a great trip uh, for the rest of the time in Paris. And I'll leave you with this Paris piece. I made him go to finals on Friday. I
Hmm.
said, I said we're going to go watch the triple jump finals on Friday night. He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah." I
Yep.
said, "You're about to turn pro, and you're going to jump against these guys for the rest of the next 10 years. You're going to see these guys at world meets, at Diamond League meets. So you need to go and watch and see if there's something that you can figure out your competition is doing and see if there's a way you can improve uh, your jumps and what you were doing." And two, Salif Main, your teammate, he made the finals. I said, we need to go rep Team USA and we need to go in there and we need to be screaming for Salif so that when he's jumping, he knows that his teammate is still behind him and rooting for him to do well. And so we went, just he and I, the rest of the family didn't go, just father and son.
Mm.
We just went and sat together and watched everything. And he tapped me and he was like, damn, I should have been in these finals. So
Yeah.
LA
he,
2028, baby. LA
that
Come
right
on.
there,
2028.
Come on.
that right there. Hopefully Tokyo 2025 because the world meets in Tokyo this summer coming up. But I think
Father wins in Tokyo, son wins in Tokyo the next year. I like the storyline.
let's go. And so he got to see it, got to burn him a little bit to go see the finals and
Good.
see
Yeah.
that he wasn't
Yeah.
in them, and to know that okay, I got to step my game up.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that was Paris, man. So I'm still proud, man. That pride is never going to
Yeah.
go away, guys.
No, man, I appreciate that story, and thanks for.
Yeah,
This is a caddy show. I didn't know we were supposed to be that emotional
It's
on
all
the
right.
caddy
That's
show,
okay. That's
man.
good, man.
man, Reynolds bringing it.
Yo, I would say sorry, but I'm not
No.
because
No, no, don't be
don't want
sorry about that
Never.
at all.
Never.
Get a quick plug in. We'll hit a reset button and we'll talk a little more golf before we let you go. Uncle
okay.
Keith's Red Sauce, you call it salsa, you call it red sauce. When you have Uncle Keith's, you can call it a party. And also sponsored by Birdie Brands. Game on, bugs gone. Bug spray also helps you focus. Check them out in a pro shop near you. All right, before we let you go, Reynolds, we're going to play a quick nine with you. We're going to ask you nine rapid fire questions.
Okay.
You just give us the first thing that comes to mind. A couple questions require maybe a touch of thought. A couple of them are just knee jerks.
Okay.
Scotty, you call them. You want odds or evens?
I think we've been doing odds. I don't have them in front of me, so I'll go odds.
You go odds. You start it with question number one. Playing a quick nine with Reynolds
All right,
Robinson.
Reynolds, number one. Favorite city.
New York,
Okay.
Early, late, or late, early?
late early.
Why?
Keep the momentum going, or if there is no momentum, book an early flight out.
There you go, baby.
You're PGA Tour commissioner for a day. What's the first thing you're changing?
Oh man, that would require some thought. The first thing I would do is have a meeting with the middle tier of the PGA Tour players. So those players that are probably ranked 50 to 100 in the world, and then the players that are ranked below that, and get a different perspective. I would leave the top ranked players out of said meeting, and I would just meet with what I would consider the larger contingent of the PGA Tour membership.
Under pressure. Question number four. Playing a quick nine with Reynolds Robinson. Question number four. Under pressure. Are you a chatty Cathy or are you a silent Cathy?
Depends on the player. I will go with the flow of the player that I'm working for, and that I'll look at their mood and determine which one I need to be.
That's a professional
Yeah,
answer.
he's so astute at these answers. Let's go to the weather. Hot and humid or cold and rainy?
Hot and humid.
Question number six. In a quick nine with Reynolds Robinson. Your on course snack.
It used to be Twizzlers, but I cut down on my sugar last year. So now all week at Zozo was PB&J with bananas.
There you go. There's some protein.
Look like Drew over there. Here we go. He has to plug it. Favorite caddy player pairing to be paired with?
Favorite caddy player? Okay, I'll go back years. The first that comes to mind was man, I'm missing his name. Vaughn Taylor and Trey.
Yeah.
You probably tell me Trey's last name, man. I'm I'm like it's
Oh,
I'm whiffing with it right now.
You're taking me way back there, Reynolds. Golly.
Yeah. Keepers. Trey Keepers.
Yes.
Trey Keepers. I was trying to remember. Yeah, Vaughn and Trey Keepers because Vaughn is so quiet and Trey was not quiet and he could be volatile.
Okay, question number 8. City or golf course where you say, don't make me go back there?
Jackson, Mississippi.
That was fast.
Well, he knew it. He was ready.
Yeah.
All right, we ask this to every guest, and maybe our most important question, number 9: who should be the next guest to come on my side of the bag?
Oh, okay. Player or caddy or just
Only
any?
caddy. Only caddy.
We've only done caddies so
Only
far. We kind
caddies.
of like that groove.
Okay, Cedric Lamar.
Okay,
Uh,
absolutely.
and you want to know why, or is
Yeah.
that good enough?
No.
No, tell me why, please.
This is
I
this is
want him
Cedric
to
good.
hear
is
this.
Cedric has been probably my closest caddy friend the entire time I've been out, and he is a straight shooter, and he's been in golf probably longer than any caddy that I know. Caddying since high school, been in golf since middle school, high school, and he knew before he has a degree from Morehouse, but he knew he was never going to use it. He was going into caddying and golf from the very beginning, and he's got just some excellent stories about caddying and the landscape of caddying for a guy born in Atlanta, Georgia, and in the golf industry in the South in the 80s and 90s and forward. And he's just got
Hmm.
some really, really cool stories and a lot of history that
Yeah.
I never had, didn't know anything about. Uh, so I think he would be a really good interview for you guys, and he could drop a lot of knowledge on caddies that they don't have.
I think we got to book him based on your recommendation alone. That will do it for me. I'm definitely excited to talk to him now.
Yeah, you know Cedric though, don't you?
Oh yeah, I know Sed. Yeah,
Okay,
I've known him
yeah,
a long time. Had
yeah.
no idea he had that kind of background, and so again, I'm kind of fired up now. I'm gonna get on the phone and talk to him tonight.
Oh yeah, you call Cedric, man. He's got some great stories, and he perseveres, man. The guy, he gave me in my first year, and I'll end it with this: in first year caddying, I was about business. I don't remember seeing him. I don't remember anything because I just came to the course, and it was Steve LeBrun in 2014, and uh, Cedric came up to me in Lafayette, Louisiana, and he said, "Man, I've been watching you for the last couple weeks." And he said, "I don't know much about you." He said, "But if you continue to move like you do, be as professional as you are," he said, "you'll never look for a job out here."
Wow.
He said, "You'll always have a job if you stay." He just offered that advice out of nowhere. And then he invited me to Tour Life Bible Fellowship. Nobody before Cedric or after Cedric has ever invited me to Tour Life Bible Fellowship in 17 years. Cedric is the only person. He said, "I don't know who you believe in or what you believe in, but we have a Tour Life Bible Fellowship out here, and it's on Tuesday night. You know, you should come out." First person, last person to ever invite me. And I thought that was pretty darn good considering he didn't know me or didn't know who I was. And then he gave me a piece of advice out of nowhere again. He was like, "Listen, man, the first time you get fired," he said, "don't take it personal." He said, "This
Hmm.
is all business out here." He said, "It's not personal. So first time you get fired, just take it as business and move along." And a couple months later, Marco Dawson fired me. And if Cedric hadn't said that to me, I would have responded very differently when Marco called me than I did. I thought about it for a second, and then I gave a professional response. I told him I was disappointed in his decision. I didn't understand his decision, but I would respect it and uh, and move forward from there. And I ended up working for Marco after that for a year and a half.
How cool.
Like but if Cedric hadn't said that to me, I probably would have responded differently to Marco's call of letting me go. I wouldn't have done that. So Cedric, again, is somebody you got to get uh, on your podcast.
Done.
Well, before we let you go, one final maybe there's a caddy out here. Maybe there's a Reynolds Robinson sitting in an office cubicle somewhere thinking about caddying, or maybe the guy's been on the Corn Ferry for a year or so and he's not sure he wants to keep doing it. When you were in that position, what would be the advice other than what you just shared with us from said? What would be the advice you'd give somebody like that?
The first thing I would say is make sure you really want to do this
Hmm.
Because the caddies that you see on TV and that they talk about all the time and tell stories about is a very small percentage of the caddies of the caddy life. So the Ted Scotts and the Paul Tesouris and the David Clarks, those are a very small percentage of guys. The rest of us over years are grinding it out, and it's not always as great as it seems. And if you don't really want to do it, then I would suggest you not even take a step toward it. So you have to really be invested in wanting to be a caddy, not just wanting to make $100,000 for winning a tournament, because there's going to be many weeks where you make zero or minus zero, and you're going to want to run home. So my first piece of advice and biggest is make sure you really want to do this. When I got into it, I really wanted to do it. It wasn't because I thought it was going to be cool or something. It was just a dream, a desire to be walking next to the best golfers in the world. And I made a lot of sacrifices to make it happen, and I wouldn't change it.
Scotty, final thoughts from you?
No,
Hearing all
just
this knowledge from
man,
Reynolds.
man, so many things to say. They call him Reynolds Rap. I think it's one of the best nicknames out there. But just thank you so much. You mean a lot to me. Obviously, like seeing a person of color do this and succeed on this level. I've always looked up to you and watched you. And
Thank you.
for you to have this moment and for us to come full circle means more than you know. So.
Thank you for that. And you guys are both pretty special to me. I don't talk to you a lot, but uh, yeah, I'm glad I could be on here today. And just you having me on, that's an honor. It's an honor, and I appreciate
Well,
that.
the honor is ours, buddy. And again, you've shared some cool stories. And now, for the second time today, I've gotten emotional doing a podcast. That was not on my bingo card when I got up this morning. So I appreciate you guys for stirring all my emotions up like a big old bowl of
Well,
soup tonight.
go get another flag in Bermuda, bud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the goal. That's the goal.
Well, really appreciate your time tonight. Scotty, thanks for making some time for us at a family event. Thank you guys for watching the show. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. Follow us on all the social media channels. You can find us at My Side of the Bag. Give us a listen, give us a like, and we'll keep giving you a view of the world of golf from my side of the bag.